Queimar o filme.
Dude, when you said that he was late for his curfew, you totally salted his game.
Solta his game. Queimar o filme.
Step off when I'm making my move or you'll salt my game.
Salt my game.
Don't do it while you're nervous or it will salt your game. Stop doing this, you're salting my game. That's gonna salt my game for sure.
Queimar meu filme. Salt my game.
Bringing her mother along on the trip would definitely cramp her style.
Seria impedimento.
I hope this doesn't cramp your style, but could you please not hum while you work?
Eu espero que isso não te deixe sem jeito, mas você poderia, por favor, não murmurar enquanto trabalha?
I hope this doesn't cramp your style, but could you please not hum while you work? Are you sure you don't mind your old mother coming along with you? I'd hate to cramp your style. Sit down and behave yourself. You're making us look bad. Slow down, you're making me look bad. Dude, you're making the rest of us look bad.
Brincadeiras à parte.
I know we all like to poke fun at Dad's forgetfulness, but kidding aside, I think his memory is really starting to deteriorate.
Kidding aside. Brincadeiras às partes.
All kidding aside, I really need to focus on finishing this report before tomorrow. I know I laugh at him, but joking aside, he's a very clever scientist. I know I threatened to leave and go around the world, but joking aside, I do need a vacation. All kidding aside, I really do like her. I know I said I'd quit, but all joking aside, this job is too much for one person. All kidding aside, I hate to lose at croquet. Joking aside, he's a great actor. I agree with you, but kidding aside, it really did surprise me. All kidding aside, I thought I made myself clear when I said I don't think she is a talented actress.
Cuspir no prato que comeu.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Leaving the company after they've spent 3 years training you up, it's a bit like biting the hand that feeds you. It is unwise to bite the hand that feeds you, but TV journalists need to tell the truth about the news business. I know the boss isn't always nice, but remember, never bite the hand that feeds you. The college gave me a scholarship, so I shouldn't bite the hand that feeds me and criticize its hiring policies. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. You may need that hand one day. Roger quit the company after they gave him money, support, and training for several years, and after they agreed to give him a vacation. Roger is biting the hand that feeds. I don't mind doing a lot of romantic comedies. I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me.
Cuspir no prato que como.
I know you're upset with your parents, but don't bite the hand that feeds you. They've done a lot for you over the years. We don't want to bite the hand that feeds us, but at the same time, it's important to express our unhappiness with our leaders. I'm thinking about quitting my job, but my boss has been so nice to me, and I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me.
Deixar barato.
Thomas loves rubbing in the fact that he won the competition, but Brian's not going to let it lie.
Deixar barato.
They are ripping us off. We can't just let it lie.
Eles estão nos roubando. Nós não podemos deixar isso barato.
They are ripping us off. We can't just let it lie.
Let it lie.
I've let many things lie over the years, but it will no longer happen. He's bragging about being more successful than you, and even making fun of your plans. Are you going to let it lie? Don't keep holding grudges against others. Sometimes letting things lie is worthwhile.
Não fique guardando rancor dos outros. Às vezes deixar as coisas barato vale a pena.
Don't keep holding grudges against others. Sometimes letting things lie is worthwhile. Instead of going to the police, they let things lie for a couple of months. You can't just let it lie. You've got to do something. Are you going to let it lie? He's the kind of person who never lets things lie, so be careful from now on.
Passar a perna. Pulled a fast one on me.
I paid him for 6 bottles of champagne, but he pulled a fast one on me and gave me 6 bottles of cheap wine. Don't try to pull a fast one on me. They're trying to pull a fast one on me, don't you think? I was helping this guy out, and he pulled a fast one on me. He took all my money. Are you trying to pull a fast one on me? That guy tried to pull a fast one on me. There was no way the car was worth that much. Most people would never suspect that you'd even think of pulling a fast one on them. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. I know what's going on. Don't try to pull the wool over her eyes. She's too smart. These people who claim to have paranormal or supernatural powers are just pulling the wool over people's eyes.
Enganando, passando a perna. Pulam the wool over people's eyes.
These people who claim to have paranormal or supernatural powers are just pulling the wool over people's eyes.
Fazer hora extra.
The newspaper staff worked overtime. We shall have to work overtime to catch up. He did 5 hours overtime this week. When your employees work overtime, you will have to pay them extra for the time, but you can get a lot more accomplished. In addition to regular work hours, it is not uncommon for employees of some companies to work overtime in order to get all of the work done required for the day. I worked 2 hours of overtime last week. I need to do some overtime. I will be doing some overtime tomorrow. He was doing a lot of overtime to save for his vacation. How much did you earn last month in overtime?
No mínimo, no máximo.
I think Peter's at least 30 years old. We need someone with at least 5 years of experience. Clean the windows at least once a week. He spent at least 2 hours studying the manual. He waited at least an hour. I'm sure it costs at least $10 to send this package. Say 10 days at the least. You could at least talk to him. Spend at most $20 on the lunch.
At most, no máximo.
The whole process will take half an hour at the most. A new engine would cost, at most, $2,000. We saw him for 10 minutes at the most. She ran 2 miles at most. If push comes to shove, he will outlay $100 at the very most. She guessed him to be in his late 30s, 40 at the very most. The walk took 4 minutes at the very most.
It won't take long, 10 minutes tops. It won't take long, 10 minutes at the most. I'll be there in 15 minutes tops. I just finished packing. I'll be there in 15 minutes at the most. I just finished packing. The trip takes 3 hours tops. It's easy to install, 30 minutes tops.
Tops, no máximo.
It's easy to install, 30 minutes at the most.
Faz muito tempo que...
It's been a long time since we talked to each other. It's been a long time since we saw each other. It's been a long time since I had roast beef for Sunday lunch. It's been a long time since I read Under the Dome. It's been a long time since I saw you. It's been a long time since I studied English. It's been 4 weeks since I went to California. It's been 3 days since I last took a shower. It has been 6 months since I last went to church. It's been a month since I last heard from her. It's been so long since I played video games. It's been so long since we last met. It's been a very long time since they've lived and worked in the same city. It's been a very long time since he played it in public. It's been a very long time since he's won a race. It's been a long time since we've seen each other. It's been a long time since we've got into the finals. We're going to fight our hardest. It's been a long time since I've last seen a rainbow. Has it been very long since she went to sleep? Has it been very long since they moved?
Faz muito tempo que eles se mudaram.
Has it been very long since they moved?
Has it been very long since they moved?
Has it been very long since she died? Has it been very long since you got here?
De uma vez por todas.
Once and for all, my name is not Brooks. Let's do that once and for all.
What?
Once and for all, you must listen to people. Let's end this once and for all.
What?
Once and for all, get out of my face. I'm going to get this place organized once and for all. It is better to strengthen your determination and stop smoking once and for all. Jim said he's decided once and for all that he's going to stay single and never get married again. He claims his photographs prove once and for all that UFOs do exist. I'd appreciate any information which serves to conclude this dispute once and for all.
Uma vez por todas.
I wish we could settle the matter once and for all. I'm fed up with arguing about this. Let's just settle this argument once and for all.
Estou de saco cheio de discutir sobre isso. Vamos apenas resolver essa discussão de uma vez por todas.
I'm fed up with arguing about this. Let's just settle this argument once and for all.
Estar no comando.
The president is at the helm of the company.
At the helm. No comando.
Things will go well with Anne at the helm. With Charles at the helm, the company is bound to prosper.
Helm.
He resigned and left the company last July after 2 years at the helm. He's in charge of the shop when I'm out.
He's in charge of.
I'm the official in charge here. Can we talk to who's in charge here? At sea, the captain is in charge of the ship, and it is the captain who makes the decisions. I've just noticed that there's nobody in charge of this ship. It is illegal for anyone under 16 to be left in charge of young children.
Bater as botas.
I'm too young to kick the bucket. Didn't you hear? He kicked the bucket. Had a heart attack, I think. All of my goldfish kicked the bucket while we were on vacation. Charlie kicked the bucket today. We better prepare for his funeral. The old man finally kicked the bucket. The young girl was sad when her cat kicked the bucket. You were supposed to water my plants while I was on vacation. All my plants have kicked the bucket. When I kick the bucket, you can just bury me under a tree at the bottom of the garden. She kicked the bucket last year. He had kicked the bucket before Sam arrived. She was kicking the bucket when a miracle occurred.
Manter ou entrar em contato.
I'll get in touch with you tomorrow. I tried to get in touch with her, but she never answered her phone. I'll get in touch with my mom about a family thing. Have you gotten in touch with her parents? I'll try to get in touch with you guys. I wanted to touch base with you just in case something had gone wrong. John and I touched base on this question yesterday, and we are in agreement.
Touch base. Entrar em contato para discutir.
I had a really good time in Paris. I touched base with some old friends and made a few new ones. I'll touch base with him later today to tell him about the meeting. I just wanted to quickly touch base with you. Did you get an email from my secretary about the meeting? She said she would keep in touch with friends. I don't think you'll keep in touch with her after the divorce. Please keep in touch with us when you move to the city. Even after leaving college, I haven't kept touch with a single person, and I don't care. I try to keep in touch with the latest developments in the music scene. Have you guys kept in touch recently? I will be in touch by phone after I arrive at the hotel. I'm sorry we haven't been in touch over the past few years.
Se eu fosse você,
If I were you, I would not do this. If I were you, I would study more. I would be more careful if I were you. If I were you, I would tell her the truth. If I were you, I wouldn't play with those wires. I wouldn't do that if I were you. If I were you, I would go to the doctor. If I were you, I wouldn't eat that. If I were you, I would phone him. I I definitely would tell him if I were you.
A gota d'água.
Losing my job was bad enough, but being evicted was the last straw.
Last straw.
She's always been rude to me, but it was the last straw when she started insulting my mother.
Last straw.
One night he came home drunk at 5 o'clock in the morning, and that was the last straw. He'd been unhappy at work for a long time, but the last straw came when he was refused promotion.
The last straw.
Lucy leaving was the last straw for him, and he pretty much gave up the will to live. I was already close to resigning, but the last straw was being bossed around by some kid 20 years younger than me. After that, I quit the job. I saw my girlfriend flirting with another guy at the party, and that was the last straw. I told her our relationship was over, and I left. For me, that was the final straw. When she blinked at him, for me, that was the final straw. I bought a car 3 months ago, but I had a brake and transmission problems. Last week's engine trouble was the final straw. The low salary and the demanding boss were bad enough, but the rude coworker was the last straw.
Conhecer de vista.
I've never spoken to him, but I know him by sight.
I know him by sight.
I'm afraid I don't know her by sight. I know all my employees by sight. I know a lot of people by sight from the tennis courts. We all knew them by sight, and they seemed a truly lovely family. The woman and her family moved here from France sometime earlier this year. I didn't know her name, but I knew her by sight. I know him by sight, but I know nothing about him. He wasn't my patient, but we all knew him and his parents by sight, and knew his story. I don't know much about him. I just know him by sight. She's not my friend. I just know her by sight.
Saber algo de cor.
You know the telephone number by heart, don't you? I know my speech by heart. I went over and over it until I knew it by heart. He's my favorite poet. I know several of his poems by heart. I studied piano for 2 years, and all I learned to play by heart was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. She knew the poem by heart. Betty had trouble learning the song by heart, but her teacher insisted on it. We learned long passages of poetry off by heart. Do you know anything off by heart? I know all the USA states and capitals off by heart. She knew everything off by heart, every path, every turn.
Perder a noção do tempo.
Every time Matthew goes to the library, he loses track of time. Once, he stayed there for 8 hours.
He loses track of time. Perder a noção do tempo.
I'm sorry, I was at work and I lost track of time. I bought my husband a watch because he was always losing track of time. Now he is never late. You should remind Sally to be punctual. She always loses track of time. Sorry I'm late. I completely lost track of time. Yesterday I lost track of time watching Halloween 3. I was cleaning the basement out and I lost track of time. I've lost track of the number of times he's asked me to lend him money. He has lost track of the years of his life that he's wasted doing nothing of value. What he was saying was so complicated that I lost track after the first couple of sentences. I've lost track of what she's doing now.
Fazer algo pelas costas. Behind his back.
Carla made fun of him behind his back. What do they say about me behind my back? I can't believe my sister asked my boyfriend out behind my back. Joan has a nasty way of maligning her friends behind their backs. Please don't talk about me behind my back. She sold the car behind his back while he was away on vacation. I don't want to talk about it behind his back. The kids were always making fun of him behind his back. I often wonder what they said about me behind my back. The employees talked about their boss behind his back. We've taught our kids that it's impolite to talk about people behind their backs. I hate to go behind her back, but she makes so much trouble about things like this. Please don't try to go behind my back again.
Por baixo do pano.
I do not know if I can do that under the table, so to speak.
Under the table.
He's being paid under the table to avoid taxes. He received an under-the-table payment. It was strictly an under-the-table deal. They made an under-the-table deal to lose the soccer match. The mayor made a few bucks under the table too. The government has been making several under-the-table deals with the oil company. The two villains made an under-the-table deal, but you don't know until the end of the book. They offered him money under the table to change his mind. A lot of these people work 80 hours a week, and they are paid under the table. They have half of their salaries paid under the table.
Pegar o jeito.
It's quite simple when you get the hang of it.
Get the hang of it. Pegar o jeito.
I know chess can be hard, but I'm sure you'll get the hang of it eventually. I finally got the hang of this game. Driving feels awkward when you're new to it, but it's easy once you get the hang of it. At first, speaking Japanese was really hard for me, but I got the hang of it after a little while. I'm still getting the hang of this new job. After 3 weeks of using this computer, I think I've finally got the hang of it. I wasn't interested and never got the hang of that stupid violin. I'll teach you how to use the design program. You'll get the hang of it after a while. My grandmother tried to teach my mom how to knit, but she never got the hang of it.
Deixar na mão.
Where were you, John? You really left me in the lurch.
Left me in the lurch. Deixou na mão.
He said he would help with the rent, but he left me in the lurch. They all cleared out and left me in the lurch. I didn't mean to leave you in the lurch. I thought we had canceled our meeting. I hope they can find someone to replace me at work. I don't really want to leave them in the lurch. You're not going to bail on me, are you? He just bailed on me when I needed his help. I'm not the kind of person who bails on friends when the going gets tough. I really hate people who bail on people needing their help. Are you lending me a hand, or you're just going to bail on me again?
E assim por diante.
Potatoes, onions, carrots, and so on are vegetables. There are many countries in Africa: Zambia, Kenya, Togo, and so on. It was a summer filled with parties, picnics, and so on. Economic growth makes us all richer, provides jobs, and so on. I need some help getting ready for dinner, setting the table, and so on. They were always arguing, I'm the fastest, no, I'm the fastest, no way, and so on. I realize they're not doing a good job and so forth, but I don't really like having to fire anyone. We discussed traveling, sightseeing, and so forth. I heard about problems at work and so forth. Don't forget to pack weather items appropriate for the climate: sunscreen, rain gear, and so forth.
De propósito.
I think he did it on purpose. I'm sure she did it on purpose. Did you do that on purpose? He lost the keys on purpose. I swear, they've been doing that on purpose. We don't do that by design. We just happen to hire the best talent.
De propósito. By design.
She got the job more by accident than by design. They fell in love by design. Alfred missed the school bus by design. This is almost as if they did it by design, not accident.
Tirar uma conclusão.
I'd like to draw my own conclusions. You can go there and draw your own conclusions. I have drawn important conclusions after studying the problem closely. I drew some conclusions about the dangers of smoking. I draw my conclusions based on what I saw. I can't draw my conclusions based on reputation. Based on what do you draw your conclusions? He has drawn his conclusions about secretaries from his experience in 6 offices. They've already drawn their conclusions, Lanny. He drew his conclusion from what he observed in the real world. I've arrived to this conclusion as a result of the experiences and environment of having lived in 2 extremely contrasting locations. Bitchov arrived to this conclusion analyzing the means and assuming both of them positive. I got to this conclusion when I was in China. We got to a conclusion the user flow is delaying the user from playing. We got to a conclusion we won't have enough money to invest in marketing. Have you come to a conclusion? When did you come to this conclusion? I came to this conclusion a long time ago. We talked for a long time, but never came to any conclusion.
Não ter nada a ver.
I have nothing to do with this. She has nothing to do with this. They have nothing to do with this incident. Other people have nothing to do with your problems. Our company has nothing to do with what happened. Does it have something to do with intelligence? I'm sure he has something to do with the murder. They all have something to do with the competitiveness of the organization. I really believe she has something to do with the story. What does it have to do with politics?
Ficar em cima do muro.
She's finally stopped sitting on the fence. You can't sit on the fence right now. You must vote. This time we'll sit on the fence and let you decide. I sit on the fence when I cannot make a decision. The government sits on the fence when elections are near. I will sit on the fence, not because of the decision, but I am just not convinced. You can't sit on the fence any longer. You must choose whose side you are on. They can choose to support their government, or they can choose to sit on the fence. When Jane and Tom argue, it is best to sit on the fence and not make either of them angry. The politician, when questioned on abortion, sat on the fence, never giving a clear opinion.
Não estou afim.
I don't feel like working today. I don't feel like explaining.
I don't feel like explaining.
I don't feel like going to bed.
I don't feel like going to bed.
I don't feel like dancing. Today I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like playing video games. I feel like watching TV.
I feel like. Estou afim.
I feel like having a snack. I feel like going for a bike ride. I feel like going to the beach. I feel like talking. I do not feel comfortable talking about it.
Fiquei sabendo.
I've heard.
Eu ouvi.
I've heard that you got a new job.
Fiquei sabendo.
I've heard that you want to leave your job. I've heard that you like fishing. I've heard that you got a new car. I've heard that you've never been abroad. I've heard you like to shop. I've heard you fix computers. I've heard you and your boss don't get along. I've heard there's no school next week. I've heard your wife is a yoga instructor.
Só para garantir. All right.
All right, I'll take it just in case.
I'll take it. All right. Tudo certo. Eu vou levar isso só para garantir.
All right, I'll take it just in case.
Just in case.
I'll take along some aspirin just in case. Make sure you have extra batteries available just in case. It's a good idea to check them all, just in case. I'm not very familiar with the area, so I'll bring a map just in case. I'm sure it won't rain, but I'll take an umbrella to be on the safe side.
To be on the safe side. Só para garantir.
My doctor says he doesn't think I've broken any bones, but it's best to be on the safe side and have an x-ray. To be on the safe side, carry some extra money in your shoe. Just to be on the safe side, ask your doctor to test your iron levels. Just to be on the safe side, I'll text you the license plate number in the next 5 minutes.
Até onde eu sei,
As far as I know, you should be at school. As far as I know, Amazonas is in the north of the country. As far as I know, all the other countries have approved this. As far as I know, there are no plans to make any changes to the regulation. However, as far as I know, the company has searched the creation of a sophisticated line when retraced to the stylists. I'm going to check this, but as far as I know, it remains in the proposals. As far as I know, there will be integration at some point, but I'm not involved in that. What could I say then about those 6 minutes of the Vela Guarda do Samba, which as far as I know is the only existing footage of the group? It's not a problem as far as I know, because we've changed the name of the company. As far as I know, all copies of the Sound Asleep EP were burned with the same contents and sequencing, including the instrumental version.
Afinal de contas,
Don't punish Tommy. After all, he's only 3 years old. It looks like Tom will go to law school after all. I do like her. After all, she is my sister. I thought he might know where Sue is. After all, she is his wife. Perhaps it isn't such a bad village after all. A car is, after all, a means of transportation. They decided to take the train after all. I realized he was telling the truth after all.
afinal de contas,
They are, after all, the men who live closest to death.
puxar alguém
He takes after his mother. Your daughter doesn't take after you at all. John takes after his grandfather.
take after.
I think I take after my father.
Puxar alguém, take after.
He takes after his mother's side of the family. Peter's very tall. He takes after his father. Your baby takes after you. She kind of takes after me. Do you think he takes after me? I wonder who he takes after.
Dar em cima.
I can't believe that the bartender hit on me.
Hit on me. Deu em cima de mim.
I hate when guys hit on my girlfriend. Some guy hit on me while I was standing at the bar. I thought he was going to hit on me. Stop hitting on him. Stop hitting on him.
Stop hit on me.
Stop hitting on him. He was hitting on me. Dude, I think she's hitting on me. The women were all hitting on George. Why are you hitting on her? If they keep hitting on my sister, somebody's going to get hurt.
Aparecer do nada.
He appeared from thin air.
From thin air.
He appeared out of thin air. They can make money from thin air. She makes cards appear out of thin air.
Do nada. Aparece do nada.
This thing came out of thin air. Suddenly, out of thin air, the messenger appeared. How can magicians produce coins from thin air? My friend is saying they came from thin air. Discoveries did not come from thin air. You can't just create wealth from thin air.
Pelo que eu vi,
From
I've seen in Colombia, the IT industry is quite agile.
Pelo que eu vi,
From what I've seen, he is no threat to persons or properties. I made predictions based from what I've seen the girls performed in the national competition. Through all these years, from what I've seen, I've had nobody who really could help me. From what I've seen, the London tech scene is really kicking off now. From what I've seen, he's just never going to make a good project. I'm not sure about it, but from what I've seen, she's older than you, Tommy. From what I've seen of her, she seems sweet enough and created a story which happened to take off. From what I've seen, it's gonna rain, and we don't have any umbrella here. I have no idea how the next games will go, but from what I've seen so far, there aren't many teams who have shown their full potential yet.
chamar para sair.
He asked her out to dinner, but she had other plans.
Ask her out.
He wanted to ask her out, but was too shy. She couldn't go, so he asked out someone else. Liz asked Carl out for dinner. I finally had the courage to ask her out, and she said yes. Let's ask him out anyway. I don't want to ask out everyone in the whole family again. Sam, did you ask her out? I asked her out after I saw her in the theater. Tomorrow Adam will go out with friends, she told Sophie. How long have you been going out with him? Will you be staying at home with your family in front of the TV, or will you go out with friends? I wanted the evenings free for going out with friends. When I go out with friends, all of them drink. Greg used to go out with Katie.
Amarelar.
Chicken out.
Amarelar. Chicken out.
Come on, don't chicken out now. You're not gonna chicken out now. I was going to ask her for a date, but at the last minute I chickened out. You're not chickening out, are you? I was going to ask for $10,000, but I chickened out and asked for $2,500. In the end, I chickened out and took the easier route down the mountain. I chickened out of the bungee jumping when I saw how high it was. Freddie chickened out of the plan at the last minute. Don't chicken out of this competition. You can't chicken out of this business now.
Meu sonho de consumo.
It has always been my dream to buy a Ferrari. This is my dream car. That's my dream girl. This is my dream job. This is a dream house. My dream vacation is to go to Hawaii. It's his dream city. To dream of buying something. She dreams of buying a new car. He dreams of buying a new house for his family.
Eu não aguento mais.
I can't stand this place anymore. I can't stand it anymore. I can't stand her anymore. I can't stand these people anymore. I can't stand this job anymore. I can't take this house anymore. I can't take this bullcrap anymore.
Eu não aguento.
I can't take your behavior anymore. I can't take this song anymore. I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm not going to take your jokes anymore. I can't put up with your bad behavior anymore.
Put up with.
I won't put up with your bad behavior anymore. I can't put up with your lies anymore. I can't put up with this hot weather. I can't put up with all this noise.
Não está aguentando. Abastecer o carro.
I'm gonna fill up the car. He decided to fill up the car. We need to fill up at the next gas station. It costs him only $20 to fill up his motorcycle. It's cheaper to fill up the car. I usually fill up the car at this gas station. You'd better fill up the car soon. I can remember going to fill up the motorcycle with just $1. Fill up the motorcycle and put the rest in the truck. All he wanted was to fill up the car.
Por acaso.
I met her by chance.
By chance, por acaso.
I found my way to the hotel by chance. If, by chance, you encounter a ferocious dog, do not run. I came across him by chance while surfing on the internet. In the blink of an eye, something happens by chance when you least expect it. Are you in love with him by any chance? Are you Hungarian by any chance? Could you lend me your car by any chance? Can the company contact me via email by any chance? Do you by any chance know each other? She overlooked the information by accident. The play was a success more by accident than design. Great products don't happen by accident.
Acabou.
The milk is gone. The water ran out.
Run out.
Our supplies finally ran out. Their money ran out. My patience is beginning to run out. Many hospitals are running out of money. Your luck is about to run out. My passport runs out next month. My contract runs out next July. All hope is gone. Love is gone. All the wine is gone. All the beer is gone. Unfortunately, cheeseburger is gone. One more day is gone. She is gone. My dad is gone. I still can't believe my uncle is gone. Where's your sister? She's not here. She's gone.
Não me leva a mal.
Don't get me wrong.
Don't get me wrong.
Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's a good idea. Don't get me wrong, but I think this isn't right. Don't get me wrong, but you don't know much about cars, do you? Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't make any sense. Don't get me wrong, but I gotta go. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to come, but I'm too busy next week. Don't get me wrong, I like Carol. I just think she has some irritating habits. Don't get me wrong, but I don't like Nickelback at all. Don't get me wrong, but you must be strong. Don't get me wrong, but she shouldn't come back.
Se dar bem com alguém.
To get along with. Those two just don't get along. My kids and their cousins really get along with each other. My boss and I get along very well. You must get along with the other people at work. This is not so hard. In general, if you are nice to people, they are nice to you. Do you want to know how soon you can go or what happens if you don't get along with your host family? We must cultivate a universal will to get along with one another. Hey Laurel, do you get along with your parents? Bringing people from Brazil would be too much expensive, and they wanted me to get along with the Canadian team. Although the owl seemed to be a bit intolerant, and the cicada was perhaps annoying, they had to get along with each other. I don't know why, but I guess Tommy won't get along with my brother. This agreement then creates a civilization, a place where individuals, groups, and countries are able to get along with each other without violence and wars.
Ficar bêbado.
I'm going out tonight to get drunk. I got completely drunk at my sister's wedding. They're not here to party and get drunk. If you want to forget about her, just get drunk. Here's $20. Take this in case I get drunk and need a cab later. Tonight, I want to go out and just get wasted. I cannot wait until I'm old enough to get wasted.
To get wasted.
He got too wasted and couldn't drive.
Got wasted. Ficou bêbado.
Paula got completely wasted after only one drink. It's not a good idea to get hammered at brunch.
Get hammered. Ficar bêbado.
Man, old Fred got really hammered last night. I'd rather just hang out at home and get hammered while I watch the game. I'm only going to have a beer or two. I don't want to get plastered.
To get plastered.
We got so plastered, we had to leave the bar. My plan is to deal with this situation by getting plastered. I've never seen my dad get plastered. He says he hates getting out of control because of alcohol. He got stoned at the party.
Ele ficou bêbado. He got stunned.
They got stoned and knocked this guy out. They got stoned and knocked this guy out. Once I got stoned and stared into a mirror for 2 hours until I saw someone who looked Chinese. Once I got stoned and stared into a mirror for 2 hours until I saw someone who looked Chinese.
Pisar na tábua.
The driver seemed to be really stepping on it as the bus gained speed very fast.
Step on it.
If we are to get there in time, you better step on it.
Pisar na tábua.
Could you step on it? I'm late. Take me to the airport and step on it. We'll need to step on it if we're going to get to the movie on time. Step on it or we are going to be late. You'll be late if you don't step on it. We're late. Come on, step on it. We've only got 35 minutes, so step on it. If he didn't drive faster, we were going to be late, so I told him to step on it. Step on the gas, they're getting away.
Pé na tábua. Eles estão escapando.
Step on the gas, they're getting away.
Step on the gas.
Step on the gas, will you? We're going to be late. If you don't step on the gas a bit, we're going to keep getting past. Let's step on it or else we'll never get there in time. We need to step on the gas in the second half to keep up with them. I think it's time to step on the gas with this initiative and really scale it up.
Por impulso.
On impulse, Bob decided to buy a car. I didn't need a cell phone. I just bought it on impulse. I bought this expensive sweater on impulse.
Por impulso.
I didn't know you were looking for some new shoes. Oh, I wasn't. I just bought them on impulse. I understand that you're dissatisfied with your job, but don't just quit it on impulse. Sleep on it for a few days. I had always wanted a classic muscle car, so after getting the payout from my insurers, I decided to buy one on impulse. We booked the trip on a whim.
On a whim. Por impulso.
He quit his job on a whim. On a whim, we drove to the beach for the weekend. Major governmental policies cannot be decided on a whim. They have to be carefully and rationally thought through. We decided, more or less on a whim, to sail to Morocco. You can't get married on a whim.
Atender às expectativas.
Profits this year will not meet expectations because of a slowdown in the worldwide economic recovery. Why do projects fail regularly to meet expectations?
To meet expectations.
He did not meet the expectations of his family. We'd heard so many good things about the new restaurant, but the food didn't meet our expectations at all. I'm so excited for the latest movie in the series. I hope it meets my expectations. The company failed to match our expectations. They've placed their hopes on him, but he's afraid of not being able to meet their expectations. Their trip more than lived up to their expectations. Does the hotel live up to your expectations? The movie failed to live up to my expectations.
Dor de cabeça.
He's got a headache and a slight fever. It's an extremely effective cure for a headache. She didn't want to go out, so she faked a headache. I tried taking tablets for the headache, but they didn't have any effect. I had a terrible headache, but even so, I went to the concert. I've got a splitting headache. I have had a terrible headache for the last 2 days. In our sample, a much smaller proportion of men than women reported headaches. This is a real headache for us. Finding a babysitter for Saturday evening will be a major headache. The airline's biggest headache is the increase in the price of aviation fuel. Do you suffer from migraines? Considering the amount of stress she's under, it's not surprising she keeps getting migraines.
Migraines. Enxaqueca.
Migraine affects 3 times as many women as men. Her mother suffered from migraines.